on the next episode of Stay Rad Wine Blog TV. Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Welcome to another episode of Stay Rad Wine Blog TV. I got a brown bag. So here's what's happening. Kara is out of town until tomorrow. She is in Napa doing some wine tasting with her sister, celebrating her sister's 30th birthday. So happy birthday, Leanne. And so before Kara left, when she was picking up some supplies for her trip, I asked her to get me a wine from Trader Joe's. I said, get me a red wine that is no more than $10 a bottle. Throw it in a brown bag, and when you're gone, I'm going to review it. Notice I'm recycling. I'm reusing my old brown bag from a different blind tasting from a while ago. I wonder what that one was. And so I got that in the brown bag. With my eyes closed, I removed the foil and I took out the cork and threw both of those away. I do have to tell you, just, putting all those cards on the table, I accidentally got a glimmer of the red color of the foil that was dropped in there. Hopefully that's not going to influence my guessing too much. And when I do blind tastings, it's never completely blind if it's coming out of a brown bag. I mean, I tried my best not to look at the foil, but I did, and I saw that it was red. I can see that, the top of this glass is green, and I also know that this is what I would call a skinny bottle. It's not the bottle that gets really fat on the bottom. So, I mean, right off the bat, when I just think about the shape of the bottle that's in a brown bag, typically, I think it's some sort of Bordeaux grape. At least that's a starting point for me. But anyways, what I thought I'd do, and you notice I got the little vacuum right here. This is an episode that's going to take place over the course of the next couple of hours. And of course, relax, guys. I'm going to condense that down for you. But what I want to do right now is taste this wine blind, give it a score, see if I can pick out the variety of the grape. And also I wanted to think about pairing this with food. I've never gone into a blind tasting saying, hey, let me think about the food that would go well with it, and let me try to go to the store and pair that food with it. I will tell you right now, I am heck of hungry, and so right off the bat, I've got a plan that I'm going to get a deli sandwich from the grocery store, and then I'm also going to pick up some stuff to barbecue later tonight. But other than that, I don't know what I'm going to barbecue. I don't know what kind of sandwich. I'm going to let the wine kind of tell the story here. And then after all the food pairing, so that's when we'll have the big reveal, right? So let's try it out. Did you see that? That was, wow. Kara's going to get really mad at me. That was messy. Whoa. Okay, so I guess you shouldn't vacuum seal closed bottles of wine that you haven't poured any wine out of yet. That's kind of stupid. So anyways, it is a red wine, and I can see that red wineness all over my kitchen right now. It's a really dark purplish ruby red color, and it's maintaining that color all the way out to the edges. It's not getting that orange type of fade or that bricking that you would see in an older wine. So I mean, relatively young. Just on sight, well, actually, it's kind of tough for me. I mean, I can eliminate. I know that it's not Pinot Noir just on sight. When I look at the density of this, when I look at the inkiness of this, there's a couple different ways we could go. I mean, it could be a Syrah-based wine. I could also think, again, just from the shape of the bottle, I think of some sort of Bordeaux variety. Now, let's get into the nose. So I'm getting a nice combination of dark fruits and red fruits with this nice kind of oaky play At first, it was giving me like the sweetness of an American oak, but I'm starting to pick out these like vanillin type of aromas, and so maybe it's more of like a new French oak type of thing. But I mean, the oak is definitely there. It's not over the top. It's almost kind of a compliment to it. And in a way, it's almost bringing like a buttered popcorn type of thing. Not an out of control, over the top buttered popcorn, but I'm definitely getting that. I'm also getting, there is a little bit of like a green bell pepper vegetal type of play. And yeah, I mean, as far as those fruits, plum and cassis, and a little bit of, so cassis is like black currant. There's just a little bit of red currant there as well. And a bit of like a cranberry and citrusy type of play. You know, on the nose, I'm starting to think, you know, when I first thought of that American oak thing and just thinking about the spiciness of the oak and the sweetness of the oak, I was almost thinking of like a South American type of play. It's smelling New World to me. Let's dive into it. Well, this is a tricky one. It does still have like that sweet slash vanilla slash buttered popcorn type of oak to this wine. There is also a little bit of greenness there as well. There's a really nice acid to this. There's this plummy fruit. There's this red cherry fruit and black cherry fruit as well. Wow. This is really a tough one to pinpoint. You know, it's weird because there is a presence of some fairly heavy and astringent tannins from the oak, but I don't think that any of these tannins are really coming from the grapes. And so whereas, you know, on the nose, I was thinking like a Bordeaux type of variety. And in some respects, I'm still, there's this part of me that says this could be like an Argentine Malbec, or it could be like a Chilean Carmenere. In some, actually, wow. Maybe it is a Chilean Carmenere. But in some respects, wow, this is just, it's a tough one to pinpoint. It's weird, because again, when I think of these tannins that to me seem like they're coming just straight from the oak, it almost makes me wonder, like, are they trying to mask what grape this really is? I mean, in a sense, it is Bordeaux-like, but in another sense, it could be one of these just really tricky red blends, and it could be something that's, wow, like Syrah based, like maybe like an Australian Shiraz. Wow, this is a tricky one. Wow, that's tricky. You know, I just had some Shiraz last night, and that's why I'm kind of starting to lean in that direction. But Wow, this is tough. I'll tell you what, when I think of the green notes on this, and there's definitely some green notes on the palate, when I think of the astringency of the oak, and when I think of the acid to this wine, I really want to say it's Chilean Carmenere. Like that's really what I'm thinking right now. And score-wise, it's nice. You know, again, putting a limit at $10. I mean, this strikes me as like an $8 to $10 Chilean Carmenere. And let me just write that down in this bag right now. 8 to 10 Chilean Carmenere. It strikes me as that. I'm really glad there's this good acidity here because that's going to make it a lot easy for me to really just think about what foods do I want because the acid would pair with most of those things. I think it's going to go great with some sort of red meat type of barbecue thing. It'd be a good pizza wine. I love throwing that one out there. And as far as like the sandwich that I choose, I think you really can't go wrong as long as it's like a nice fresh sandwich with some good bread, maybe a turkey or maybe like an Italian combo with like some pepperoncinis. I think would go pretty well with that. Score-wise, I'll throw down an 87. I mean, this is a good wine, not just drinkable, but enjoyable, and I'm really happy to see what I'm going to pair with it. So, gosh, the next time I see you, I should be having lunch, and then after that, I'll be having dinner. So, stick in there, guys. It's going to be a fun ride. All right? So it's just about an hour later. I went to the store and I picked up a nice sandwich here. And before I get into the sandwich, I thought what I would do is, since it has been an hour, you know, I did vacuum seal this wine. I did just want to do a quick taste just to make sure that the flavors haven't changed that much. I don't imagine much of that flavor would change. I didn't pour that much wine to begin with, so there's not a whole lot of surface area that this wine would be exposed to oxygen, and it was vacuum sealed. But I just want to retaste this real quick just to make sure that the flavors are still similar, because otherwise that is going to affect what's going on. Again, a reminder, I said this was about an $8 to $10 Chilean Carmenere, 87 points. Color's the same. On the nose, I'm not getting as much of that oak that I was earlier. But I am getting those dark fruits. I am getting that cassis. I'm also getting that red currant that I was talking about before. Palate's pretty much the same. The oak is coming across as being a little bit more of that vanilla style and a little bit less of that spicy, sweet style that I was thinking about. Same type of fruit flavors. Yeah, kind of like this cherry type of play with a little bit of plum as well. So we're talking about the same wine, and again, an enjoyable wine, and kind of what I would expect as far as the price range that I was giving Kara to work with. So let's dive into this sandwich right here. So I just went to my local grocery store. I went to the deli and I did kind of a choose your own sandwich here. So this is a rustic French roll. I've got turkey, I've got pepper jack, mustard, red onions, pickles, pepperoncinis, lettuce, and tomato. I specifically want to make sure I had pepperoncinis and those pickles to kind of bring a little bit of a tangy play. I was thinking about that when I was talking about that nice acid that was on this wine beforehand. So let's see how this plays, right?
So, as expected, I'm getting this nice tanginess from the pickles and the pepperoncinis. Good creaminess from that cheese, heartiness of the bread and the turkey, and really just a quality sandwich. So kudos to my local grocery store. And to pair that with this wine here, yeah, the acid of the wine, along with those pepperoncinis and pickles, are very much brightening up the sandwich. It's very much the sandwich comes across as being a lot lighter than it was on the initial bite there. What I'm also noticing is that the fruit flavors of the wine are kind of pulling back, and the wine becomes almost more of a textural component, a mouthfeel type of component. This is a medium to light bodied wine, but that nice little like scrubbing action from the tannins in the wine and from that acidity, it's actually very nice, very pleasant. So. And actually, I feel like the wine is coming across as being a lot more rich and fuller bodied in character. So, I mean, a nice pairing right here. I think part one of this food and blind wine and food pairing is coming across pretty well. I'm really happy with what I got so far. So I'm going to go ahead and enjoy my lunch, and I'm going to take care of my son. And then after I put him to bed and after I make some dinner, I guess maybe I'll chime back in with you, and we'll see how this goes with dinner, and we'll see what's actually inside of that bag. I'm getting kind of excited. Are you guys? See you in a little bit. So it's been about 6 hours since the last time I filmed, and again, that sandwich paired with this blind wine right here really did the trick. That was very much enjoyable. Parker is asleep. I finally had a chance to barbecue, and so here I am. I can't believe this. I'm having dinner at 9 o'clock at night. I'm doing this for you guys. What I did was I got a 100% beef. Of course it's beef. It's a steak. This is some grass-fed sirloin steak. It's right around a pound worth of steak. I've got some local mushrooms and onions and garlic sauteed on top of that in some Stagecoach Vineyards olive oil. I also have some blue cheese on there as well. And then I just did like a really light romaine salad with a light basil mustard vinaigrette and put a little Parmesan on top of that. So we're going to see how that goes with this wine right here. Again, vacuum sealed, but that being said, these little pump vacuums, there usually is just a little bit of oxygen that gets into it, so the flavor profile of the wine might change a little bit over the course of, man, has it been, a good 10 hours since I started doing this filming? So things can definitely change here. The color is staying very much consistent. This dark purplish ruby type of red. And on the nose, that presence of oak is still there, but it's kind of in the background, and what's really jumping out to me are these nice red fruit flavors. I'm getting a little bit of cherry, and I know that maybe I mentioned that on the palate before, but I'm getting a little bit more of that on the nose. There's still a little bit of that plum fruit. It's definitely appearing to be a much more of a brighter, much more of a fruit-forward type of wine a couple hours down the road. Let's hit the palate here. These plum fruits are still present. Those cherries are really starting to take over. If I were tasting this blind right now, and saying that it was straight from the bottle tasting like this, I would almost think that it might be something like Sangiovese based. I'm gonna stick with the South American, the New World, the Chilean Carmenere. I've got this small little inkling right now as I'm tasting this, though, that it's probably more likely to be Argentine Malbec. If it's not one of those two things, I'd be very much surprised. But let's try this with the food, and then we'll do the big reveal in just a little bit. We'll skip the salad for now. You guys know what's up. We want to hit up this steak. So I want to make sure I get tons of mushrooms and onions and blue cheese there. And, I gotta say, I'm pretty awesome when it comes to my chefery. That's perfectly medium rare right there, which I am very much a fan of. So the sirloin is one of the more flavorful, but also one of the tougher cuts of meat. I probably should have taken like a gigantic handful piece to my mouth right now, because it takes me a while to chew it. That being said, ridiculously awesome beefy flavor, really hearty, really earthy. I think the mushrooms really are pairing well with that. There's a nice creamy note from that blue cheese. It's wow, it's really tasty. Now let's try it with the wine. Much smaller. Couple things happening here. The acid from that wine cutting right through the creaminess of that cheese and kind of livening it up. I'm also noticing the steak itself is really providing some depth and some elegance with the wine. This is really tasty, and I gotta be honest, when it comes to wine and food, having a good pairing just elevates everything. You know what I mean? Like earlier I was saying this is a 87 point wine, and I'm very much sticking to that. But I gotta say, once you pair it with some really good food, the right type of food that matches up well with it, it very much becomes a 90 point plus experience, Excuse me for a second. Dave's trying to text me, and that's just inappropriate right now. So let me close you out, Dave. Something about whiskey sours. I don't know. Very much a nice pairing, and I'm really excited by that. Considering it's been about 6 hours since my last meal, I'm also really excited to sit down and have some quality time with this while I'm not being filmed, because I get very aggressive when I eat my steak. So I guess the only thing that's left is to do this big reveal, right? So again, reminder, when I opened this up a while back, I said this was an $8 to $10 Chilean Carmenere. I gave it 87 points. I told Kara, again, the restrictions were nothing more than $10 for a red wine from Trader Joe's. I know it's in a Bevmo bag, but I recycled it. And remember, I've used this bag before. So let's open it up. Let's see what's happening. Green bottle. White label. Oh my goodness. Remember I said Bordeaux? Okay, so there we go. It's a Bordeaux grape, and of course it's a Bordeaux grape, but so is Carmenere and so is Malbec. I said it was New World. I was right with that. But we are looking at a Washingtonian wine here, and this is something that's probably available everywhere. This is the Chateau Saint Michelle 2012 Cabernet Sauvignon. 12 months aging in oak barrels. They're saying it's got New World fruit intensity with an elegant Old World style. It's definitely more New World than that. And definitely, this is something you'll find everywhere. For less than $10, I can say that, and if memory serves me right, I mean, this is probably in that $8 range. What I think is kind of interesting here is it says it's 100% vinifera rootstock, right? So, I mean, this is a French grape planted on French rootstock, and you don't see that a lot. Really anywhere in the world because of the phylloxera outbreak, everybody was planting their French grapes on American rootstock. So that's kind of neat to see. Yeah, pretty good. Thanks for hanging in there, guys, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. What's your favorite $10 red wine and food pairing? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Till next time, everybody, stay rad.
Stay rad, wine blog. Stay rad, wine blog. Stay rad, wine blog. Stay rad, wineblog.com.